time for Two Guys and a Goalie with Dustin Nielsen, Matt Cassian, and the goalie, Joaquin Gage.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Two Guys and a Goalie, a Thursday episode, a post-Oilers-Calgary episode, a pre-Oilers-Jets episode. It's Nielsen, Gager, Cassian, Hernan, Salas with you. It's all brought to you by our friends at Coolbet Canada. All you have to do is hop online, coolbet.com, sign up for an account, use the promo code 2GUYS. You get a 100% deposit bonus up to $200. Stay cool, bet responsibly. Parlay McDavid over a half point with anything else to get good value, and you will be laughing pretty much every single night. I do have some good news and bad news. Bad news is that Chris Abbott is busy, can't join us today. Good news, boys, I got an email late last night that our swag from Coolbet has been shipped via UPS, and it's coming to my house, and I'll be dishing it out to all you guys.
Oh, nice. That's the best news ever.
Cass, it looks like your hat would already match some of the Coolbet colors, so you're set. You're ready to go, buddy.
Oh yeah, absolutely. No, it'll be good. And you know what? If it's a warm hoodie, I may not have to wear a blanket anymore.
A basement hoodie. We all have those as well. If you're watching on the live stream, feel free to comment. Feel free to chime in. Ask us any questions. We can get to a few of those as we work our way through this thing as well. And we're going to get to, we got to talk about it. We're going to get to keep it or clip it. But let's just start with the bounce back effort last night. And you know what? Let's tie this in. Let's tie this into Gager's. We got to talk about it because we could spin that into the Battle of Alberta for sure. Gager, you brilliant man.
I don't know what it is, Dusty. I mean, it's just been rolling like a snowball down the hill. My wisdom of what's happening inside the hockey world. The knowing what Kelly Rudy was going to say the other day in our private chats during the game, and I'd mentioned it before, and he had mentioned how it was funny how Taylor Hall backed off all the Calgary Flames. And then to the last episode of me predicting exactly what was going to happen within the next two games is just, I don't know if I'm brilliant or it's because I've quit drinking. It's either one of the two that's the reason why I've just had so much success with my predictions in hockey lately. I guess I think it may. Oh, here we go, Cass.
Well, I was going to wait till you were done.
No, go ahead. Your hand was up.
Well, I was going to say, like,
I'll take you to class, baby. I'm taking you to class.
I'm really happy. Like, I truly am really happy with your success. Has this translated to Coolbet success?
I've taken a break off Coolbet. I can only do one thing at a time here. All right. I've put my focus into actually predicting the future within our little bubble here, our two guys in a goalie bubble, and just going from there, because I think I reach more people this way, Cass. If I'm just on Coolbet I'd have to post all my results. My wife would see me betting and losing money, so that just doesn't do anyone any good.
My question is, did you really quit drinking?
I've cut back extremely. I mean, if I predict the next few games, I might get back on that Jamaican horse these weekends. But that's we'll see what happens with future predictions. But
so would you dial it back to? A couple of beers a weekend now, or are you just not drinking at all?
Yeah, I had a few last weekend, and it's been weeks before that. I don't know. I think it's age, Dusty. It takes me a long time to recover. And if I hit 10 like Jamaican horses on the weekend, it doesn't matter. I still feel the same with either it's 10 or 1. I do feel like trash the next morning, and it takes me a long time to recover. So
gotta keep drinking, Gager.
that's what I have been doing for the past 10 years. I actually start feeling better around 10:30, 11. So
Cass, you're the youngest member of the podcast. You're probably not there yet. With that being said, though, with 3 young daughters, as me with 2 young kids, I can't afford to not feel good the next day. It's impossible. The guilt is worse than the hangover. So I don't want to deal with either.
No days off as dad right now, right? Like Doesn't matter what I do the day before, how early or late I go to bed, what I eat, what I drink. Those kids are waking up at 6 a.m. and I'm waking up at 6 a.m. Like there's, even if either my wife or I, we try to, if someone tries to take a turn, like, hey, you want to sleep in today? Yeah, I'll sleep in today. It's like, it's not really going to happen because the kids are going to be loud enough that at 6 you're up anyways, and maybe you get back to sleep for a little bit. But yeah, no, there's no messing around with that at this stage in our lives. So yeah, I feel you, Gager. It's that being said, I'm off of beer right now too for a little bit. So I'm doing it with you.
Nice.
So are you just drinking hard stuff, Cass, or you're just not drinking at all?
Yeah, I've had a couple old fashions, but very very minimal.
Nice.
Just a sipper. Just a sipper.
Just a sipper.
All right. So Gager, yes, you nailed it. The blowout last night. Cass, what stood out for you early in that game where we thought it was going to go different than what we saw from that first game against Calgary?
Well, you kind of just felt it right away from the way that McDavid and Draisaitl established themselves. Draisaitl in particular, I think you could see, like, every once in a while he has these games where you can just see it in the way that he's moving. You're like, he's on today, like he wants this. He is going to take it, and nobody's going to be able to stop him. It just kind of felt that way right from the get-go with Draisaitl, and then McDavid as well. And then when you saw Mike Smith start to make a couple saves too, you're like, okay, he's feeling it today too. And that just kind of changed the whole game. I talked a little bit about on the post-game show yesterday with Hernan and Tommy G that one of the big things in this game for me was how well Mike Smith handled the puck. And he, right from the get-go, did a wonderful job of allowing the Oilers to break out of the zone without feeling the heat, pun intended, of the Flames forecheck nearly as much as the game before.
Gage, you want to chime in on that?
You know what I noticed about it's even more impressive about Mike Smith's handling, and I think someone made reference to it. Just the subtle plays. It was Kelly Rudy again. I think, wasn't it Kelly Rudy last night? Yeah,
it was Rudy last night. Yeah,
yeah. And so he pointed out how Mike Smith just sets the puck up for his defenseman right behind the net, like gets it to calm down if it's rolling. And he did that one play where he calmed it right down. But he even places it in a position where if the defenseman is left-handed or right-handed, he'll put it. So if a guy's coming in on his right-hand side and he's a right-hand shot, he'll put it closer so the defenseman can actually take that puck on his forehand instead of his backhand. Like he did it like 2 or 3 times where I kind of rewound it and looked at it again. I go, gosh, he's even setting it up perfectly so they can skate right into it on their forehand. That's a really unbelievable skill. I tell goalies when I do some camps to one of the things you can look at, see which defensemen are out there, what hand they shoot. So if they do come back, you can, and it's set it up. It's one of those things that I tell them just to keep their mind in the game and focused. But it just seems so effortless for Mike Smith to be conscious of that. That's a really cool thing for young goalies to have a look at, to see how good he is at just doing something subtle like that. But like you said, Cass, it's so easy for the defenseman to break out of the zone when he's on and playing the puck like that.
Gager, were you drooling over Schmitty? Was that some Schmitty drool that I saw there? Like, yeah, I just love seeing a goalie admire so much what Mike Smith does, as opposed to how some of us wouldn't pick up on those really little things. Like, let's watch Koskinen tonight and see if he kind of at least places the puck the same way. He's not going to play it as often, but...
No, yeah, I don't think a lot of times it doesn't even run through goalies' heads about that type of stuff. But to see him kind of do that, I was drooling. Let's say it. I'll say it. I was drooling. That was I think you talked about it earlier on your hit TSN 1260 Evidence Sports Leader radio show that there was a porn. That's goalie porn right there. That's goalie porn.
Yeah, I think we already had that episode title in our 126 episodes. We might have to go with
goalie porn.
I thought we had goalie porn, didn't we? We have porn in a few titles, yeah. I think. As Cass just cringes in the bottom left corner of the stream.
All my fault.
Hernan, what about that pass from Draisaitl to Cahoon? Like it was at that moment I knew the game was over. Because if you're doing that in the National Hockey League, you're feeling pretty bloody good about how the game's going. That was ridiculous.
Just sick, wicked, nasty, filthy, ridiculous. Oh man, like, and it's when you saw it like initially live, you're like, yeah, it's a hell of a pass. And then you saw the replay, you saw he goes between his legs, you're like, Jesus. And like Cahoon's eyes are just like, wow, like it. And just seeing like Twitter explode on that pass, like it's unbelievable what this guy does. And that's got to be, I mean, I haven't watched every game, but that's got to be the pass of the year so far. And this guy's quickly becoming one of the best, if not the best passer in the NHL. He's just unreal right now. And these two guys, him and McDavid, are just, I mean, we're so lucky here in Edmonton. But yeah, that pass and like you guys just said, that was like porn as well, you know?
It's passing porn.
Yeah, passing porn. Yeah.
Cass, like it wasn't like Draisaitl was wide open. There was a defender that was closing in on him, and he still managed to make it. Like, what went through your head when you saw that?
I had to hit the pause button and go back. I was just like,
Yeah.
did I just see that right? Like, did that actually, like, was that what I thought it was, or did something else happen? And I just started laughing. That's it. Just like my wife knows something good happens. I don't stand up and cheer. I just start laughing because I'm like, this is so ridiculous. And I do it all the time with McDavid and Draisaitl. Like I just shake my head, and I'm just, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Like it makes me think of that one time I tried like a fake slap shot to like a backhand behind my back pass and shinny, and it worked. And I was like, wow, that was the coolest thing I've ever done. And it's like, yeah, that's at shinny, you know, playing with a bunch of, you know, pick up with a bunch of guys that don't play that often versus, you know, Leon Draisaitl doing it at top speed with guys on him in the NHL is just, it's nuts. The awareness to be able to do that and the finesse, because that's like, you know, if you think about the angles required to do that. So just the physics, the mental math that he processed so quickly, his brain, to say that if I put my stick at this angle with the puck coming at that speed, it's going to kick right to him. Like just ludicrous. It was beautiful.
Yeah, you're right. When you have to watch it the second. First time I saw it, I was like, oh, good job. He kind of got that over there really quick and tight. And then I saw that, oh no, he just put it between his own legs on a one touch. It wasn't even like he backhanded it. It was just a one touch. It was ridiculous. Now, you know what might have been, there was a lot of encouraging things for me last night. And you guys might be thinking, I'm going, yes, he pulled the RV power play, dive to get the puck, get back up and tip it in goal. But I'm not. I think the most encouraging thing last night was Tippett goes back to McDavid and Draisaitl. And we know McDavid and Draisaitl love playing together. But he separated him again, and there was no sulking. There was no downtime. Like Draisaitl came out with his line and was bam, bam, bam. McDavid came out with his line, same sort of thing. I think it was nice to see those two guys set the tone as Tippett goes back to the original top six. Is that not important, you think, for this team, Hernan?
Oh, definitely. And it's funny because as much as we love watching the two big guys play together, like them split up worked. Like in January, yeah, they were mediocre, but in February, they were unreal on separate lines. So I think it was so important that they were like you said, they didn't sit there and soak, and they went out there. Nuge scores 5-on-5. Then Cahoon scores 5-on-5. So both lines get it going right away. And I think that's such a positive. And another positive is every guy that's hit the taxi squad or been sat out like Cahoon did for 5 games, they come back and they start producing. Like Cahoon gets on the scoreboard, and he played well outside of the goal as well. So, I mean, they're all getting the message. Like you saw Kyra, you're seeing Devin Shore do it now. You saw Tyler Ennis, now Cahoon. So you know what, Dusty? I think it's perfect for the Oilers and Dave Tippett, where if they're struggling a bit, or again, he called the right shot. He went to that loaded line against Ottawa to pick up the wins there, but he always has that in his back pocket. And you can go with McDavid and Draisaitl on separate lines, and we know it works, guys. We know it works. We know them together are unreal. So I think Dave Tippett's, it's a good problem to have. And last night it worked to a T, so good on him, and expect the same tonight.
Well, let's tie this in then, Hernan, to what we got to talk about with you, buddy. Where do you want to go?
McDavid and Draisaitl. I think I said McDavid to get 70-something points, and I look like a damn fool right now. 105 points. These two guys have combined for in 32 games. They got 24 games left. Like, what are they going to hit? Like McDavid's at 56, Draisaitl's at 49. Like McDavid's going to get close to that 100. Like he's going to be 90 for sure. Like these guys are just unbelievable. For all the haters out there, they're like, oh, they play together. Yeah, they do on the power play, but for the most part of this season, they've been on separate lines. And it's just amazing that these guys continue to put up these points. And I just want to hear from you guys and like, what are they going to finish with?
Well, the question here is McDavid's on pace for 98 points right now. 98 points in 56 games, which means 100 is not crazy to think. He needs 44 points in 24 games to get to 100 points in 56 games. Now, they have fewer games left against Ottawa than what they've already played, and we know he's torched the Leafs. But, they've done it to Calgary, too. You can't tell me that you don't think Connor McDavid can put up 4 points in a night against the Vancouver Canucks. Like, that can happen. So, Cass, does he get it? Does he get 100 points in 56 games?
Oh, I sure hope so. I think I texted you guys this, but the only thing that kind of makes me sad if he does is that he's still going to lose the Hart Trophy to Austin Matthews when Matthews scores 60. So, I don't know. I think he gets it, and that's just, I think, the little kid in me that thinks McDavid gets 100 points. It just really wants to see something cool. And I hope it gets to a point where, and I know it's not quite the same as like the Sammy Sosa, Mark McGuire home run derby, but I just remember as a kid, watching that, and my dad would have the TV on every single night, just watching to see if those guys hit home runs. Yeah. And I kind of feel if you start approaching that, we're all watching the games anyways, but it might bring back a little bit of that feeling where you're watching him every night just to see, like, can he do this? Can he do what we thought was going to be next to impossible or impossible? So it's really exciting. So the kid in me is just like, he's going to do it because that would be fun.
I would like him I want him just to only get 97. I want him to get 97 points because I think just from a memorabilia standpoint, I think marking this season like no other, he finishes with 97. They can have the big, huge plaque with him scoring that point, 97 for 97. I'll have him autograph it, put it in the office. To Gager, thanks for everything. I think that would just look really, really cool to a weird year, but to finish with 97, that would be, I think that would be cool.
Amazing.
Gager, you're a businessman. You're always thinking about the ways you can make money off this. If you're Connor McDavid, it's good.
Exactly.
I like it.
Hey, Dusty, though, but what does Draisaitl come in at?
90, like 85 to 90. It's unfair, man. Like, you need to win a championship with those two guys on your roster. I'm not saying this year, but you have to deliver a Stanley Cup to Edmonton when you have two guys who can run the way that those two guys do. You just have to. And I think they will at some point, but you have to, or else it's going to be the biggest waste of talent in the history of the National Hockey League. So you have to get that done. There's no doubt about that. The crazy thing is that anytime anybody tries to stir up an actual Matthews-McDavid debate, McDavid just absolutely blows it out of the water. He has more assists than Austin Matthews has points. McDavid could not have a goal right now, and I think be fourth or fifth in the entire league in scoring. And he's second in goals. Like, I'm not saying it's like Wayne Gretzky style, but
how many of those are second assists, Dusty? They're second assists. You shouldn't even count second assists.
Weird thing is that the majority of them are first assists anyway. Because usually when he puts it to somebody, they're putting it in the net, not looking to pass it to somebody else, right? Like, it's ridiculous. All right, let's tie this into what I got to talk about, and I think we got to talk about Tyson Barrie. 4 assists last night, 21st in the NHL in scoring, leads all D-men in scoring. He has finally, the Oilers have finally got this right shot offensive D-men that we've been talking about for essentially ever. And now the discussion is already, well, you can't pay him. You can't pay him. There's no chance you can pay him. He's going to go, I want too much money. But you get the guy, the perfect fit for McDavid and Draisaitl. It's just worked out extremely well. So, Cass, is there a path to a long-term future? And by long-term, I mean 3 years. Is there Is there a path to a long-term future for Barrie with the Oilers?
Ooh. Yes, but then you're not going to sign a goalie. Like, you're going to have to sign 2 goalies in the cheap.
I don't know.
I don't think you can afford both. Like, I think there's a path to getting Barrie. I think you could get him in 3 years, to me, becomes more expensive for Barrie than 5 years, just from an overall
that's true
AAV point. But if you're looking just for maximizing, your current cap situation and managing it, you probably got to offer him a 5-year deal, and that's where it becomes pretty expensive just from a long-term standpoint. Because you got to think, with his current pace, if he continues to play this, he's gonna get over 6, right? Like, is he 6.5, 7? So is the path forward? You move on from Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. Does that become it? Does it become a choice between the two of them? Who do you want to keep? I don't know. I just look at the cap flexibility they have. They have some numbers coming off the books, but I just don't know how much wiggle room there is. So I want to keep them. I think they do as well. It's going to be challenging, and it's going to be challenging because other teams are going to offer him money, and those other teams may have more flexibility in the cap than Edmonton does.
Where do you guys come out of this? Hernan, what do you think?
I'm with Cass. I mean, I'd love Barrie to stay, but at 30 years old, he's going to want a longer term. He bet on himself, and what a bet, right? He's knocking it out of the park right now. And it's not just you need a goaltender. Yeah, you do. Darnell Nurse is up after next year, and you're not going to let him walk. You need to sign him, and he's going to get a raise of he's almost at 6 already. So And you're signing Nuge for over 6. I just don't see how you can fit all those guys in right now. And I know a lot of people wanted to bring Larson back. Larson's not going to cost you much, but you can't just look at next year because there's contracts coming up of key players that the Oilers have to sign to continue to be a successful team. And Barrie would add to that, but at 30 years old, I just don't know if you can make it all work and get all the guys signed that we want here. So one of them's going to have to be let go, and I think it's just going to be Tyson Barrie, unfortunately.
Gager.
I've tried to look at other solutions, and I do think that Barrie will look at other places, but it all depends on, like Cass said, what other team situations. Like, I was trying to look at other teams that might go after him, but you do have the option, like Oscar Klefbom is going under the knife, I think, in the next few days. There is a possibility of him coming back, and they were the best power at 29% last year. So that, looking at that, it could replace Barrie, but I don't know. I think a lot depends on how well the Oilers do and if they do make a playoff push, right? Being 30 and having a pretty good career and taking a run at it, maybe you get some sort of discount and realizing, look, I could go to some of these other places. These other places are offering me money, but they're a few years away from even coming close to challenging for something. So maybe by staying in Edmonton with that flat cap, maybe one more year, I don't know. He'll probably look to cash in because that was the whole plan in the first place. But if the Oilers get to a situation where they're challenging for a Stanley Cup, if they win, he's gone. But if they get close and fall short, he could make the decision to come back and take another run at it.
And he did say last night in the presser, he was asked, he said they've had no contract talks as of yet with Edmonton, and he's just concentrating on the season, so nothing's been talked about. So I'm trying to run the numbers here quickly on things that need to get done, because right now, according to Cap Friendly, it's $25 million in projected cap space next year. All right, so let's just work with that number. How much is going to Nuge? Should we ballpark it at 6.5?
Say 6.5.
Okay, so let's say 6.5. So that knocks it down to 18.5 million left. Yamamoto's going to get 2.5 on a bridge?
You think he gets 2.5? I was thinking 3 to 3.5.
Why though? He hasn't done much this year, really.
Well,
and I don't think he has arb rights, does he? I don't think he's in a great position of power, but we can say 3. Let's say 3.
You know what? Here's the thing with that, Dusty, is if you've got, just again to go to Hernan's comment, like if you're looking not just this year but the next 3 to 4 years, like you got to look at his contract 3 to 4 years out for Yamamoto as well, because if you do a 2-year bridge deal at like 2, well, now all of a sudden if he continues to play well and continues to produce from a point standpoint, like you're going to be paying him 5 or 6 in 2 years. So I don't know, like, or do you pay him, a little bit more than maybe you'd like right now, and for a little bit longer versus having a big uptick in 2 years. But that's we don't need to talk about that today. So just put
we can settle at 3. You want to set it at 3? I think it might be a little high, but if we set it at 3, that brings us down to $15.5 million. Okay, so Adam Larson, if they want to keep Larson, he's making 4 right now. I don't think do you think you get Larson for 3 if you give him 2 or 3 more years?
I think so,
think?
yeah.
3.5.
Okay, so then that would take us down to 10. No, 12.5. That leaves us 12.5 for Barrie and a goalie and like a minor piece up front. And you can still buy O'Neill for $3.8 million in cap space. So, like, I think there's enough space here to keep Barrie, keep Larson, sign a goalie, keep Nuge, and get Yamamoto done. Now, I don't know how Clefbaum factors into all of that if he comes back. That changes things maybe a little bit, but like I don't think it's just like written off here that they need to sacrifice one of these guys.
And what goalie are they getting? Like,
well, like, what do you think? Well, I don't know. I mean, the list of goalies, we've gone over this a little bit before. What am I like? The names that jump off the page for me right now are like, I think Halak would be an unrestricted free agent. Tuukka Rask, he doesn't have a contract beyond this year. Let me just see if I can bring this up quickly.
but that's
It's not a
goalies. How much
like it's
is
not
Rask?
a huge list.
They're just at a perfect number for goalies right now at 6, right?
That would
6.5.
kind of be in that range, right?
Yeah.
So
I still
let's see.
think altogether you have 8 to 10 million to spend on your goalies from a cap standpoint.
I thought
Two
you were at
guys.
6.5. Solid 6.5. Those bastards don't need more than that. Isn't that what you said to me?
Well, that Koskinen number is still killing you a little bit, but I think there's I'll just say I think there's an outside shot that Holland can keep Nuge, Barrie, Larson, and bring in a goalie still. That doesn't get you your elite goal scoring left winger, but this team doesn't struggle scoring goals. Like, we need to remember that they score goals just fine. So we'll see what happens. Before we get to keep it or clip it, this is a sad story, but we do have to talk about it. Cass, what do we got to talk about?
Yeah. You know what? I wanted to talk about Timur Fezantinov. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's not like I was familiar with him before this happened, but passed away the other day after being hit in the middle of a game with a puck in the head. It's a stark reminder for me that this is a game and one we love, and we get to make comments about all kinds of grotesque things and laugh and talk about salary caps, and even just what we're talking about, like trying to pay players and how do we make this work and how do we win a championship, and utilizing these players for the best during their prime of their career. And meanwhile, you have a kid that was fighting for his life and ultimately didn't make it. And it's heartbreaking for me to see that happen. And not, it happens outside of hockey as well. But I just always want people to remember that these kids and these grown men that are playing in the NHL as well, they're real people. Hard things happen. Just really, really too bad. For Timur that he passed, and for his family and teammates. Like, it's a horrible story. Heart sunk when I saw it. I didn't watch the clip. My wife was the one who saw it happen first when it broke and brought it to show me. And I didn't want to see the clip happen. It would just make me feel too sick to my stomach. I don't know. I just wanted to make sure we mentioned it, because I think it's important to talk about those things and to see them and to remember that these are real people and real situations. And sometimes, bad things happen, and it's important to pay attention to that.
When I first saw they passed away, I didn't realize it was from a shot with the puck. Like I thought he'd gotten sick, or I thought something had happened. And then I saw what happened with the puck, and anytime anybody really goes on the ice, there's that risk. It sucks when it actually hits the hockey world the way that it did. That's a tough one to see, boys?
Yeah, no, I saw it. I glanced at it, and it doesn't take much. Those kind of plays happen a lot, and just to see him go down, and then I didn't think much of it, but then to hear that he passed from the shot, it does make you feel kind of queasy that something like that can happen to you so fast, and I know one of my last years of playing, actually, we in Italy, a guy got hit in the chest with a puck, and it sent him into cardiac arrest. So you have to be careful, and really sad for the loss, and just the realization that it's you want to take advantage of everyone, hug everyone, make sure that your loved ones are around you, and just take some time to realize what you have, because who knows what can happen in the blink of an eye.
And just remember how fortunate it is that you don't see things like this more often, with how fast and how big and how dangerous the game can be. It's devastating when it happens, but for everybody else who gets to play safely, obviously very fortunate. All right, let's get to Keep It or Clip It. As soon as Cass comes back, we'll dive into that. I've got 4 questions for Keep It or Clip It. I actually do want to come back around to the Barrie discussion just quickly, because the Barrie discussion kind of just turned into an overall cap discussion. Gager, just on Barrie and Cass, sorry, I don't know if you missed this when you disconnected there quickly. I just want to come back around on the Barrie discussion, because I have seen some text messages today saying, hey, Barrie's great, but you can't block Bouchard. You can't block Bouchard. He's going to be Barrie one day. And maybe he does. Maybe Bouchard never is at the top of the D scoring race in the National Hockey League. Maybe he is. You just don't know. He's kind of an uncertain thing right now. Right now, you have this guy that's absolutely rolling. Cass, considering he seems like such a good fit, would there be any concern of keeping Barrie around and blocking some of these other young defensemen from developing into the roles where you want them to be?
I think there has to be a little bit. It has to be a consideration you make. And that comes down to how long is the contract, and where is Barrie going to be in 5 years from a talent standpoint. But you have to balance that with that we also want to win today, because we have McDavid and Draisaitl in the prime of their careers. So we want to win a cup now. We don't want to win a cup in 5 years. We want to win a cup, really, when you look at the window, the next 2 to 3 years, like that's your big window for the Edmonton Oilers. So, it's a little bit of a balance. I wouldn't get worried about years 1 and 2. Really, when it starts to be like, okay, well, what does this look like? Is if it's a contract that's 5 years long, the last 2 years, the last 3 years, that's where I really go, okay, is this impeding Bouchard? Because unless Bouchard makes massive steps, he's not going to be ready, I don't think, next year to take over running the power play. He's still got another couple of years before he's ready for that.
Ryan, what do you think? Or Gager?
Go ahead, Gage.
I mean, I think you should want both of them in the lineup if you have them, right? And there should be some competition. I don't think Bouchard should just get the job just because he's a first rounder. Like, you get to the NHL by earning it, and you have to earn ice time and earn your spot. Like, if he's looking at that position on the power play, that's Barrie's right now, but he has to do something special to get to that point too. You can't just give it to him and hope it works. That's he's definitely a work in progress, but I'd like to see them both contributing, it's tough to say with a second power play. We know that's not going to happen, but I'd rather have them both than losing one. I think there's an opportunity there to definitely make your team stronger with both in the lineup.
Yeah, I'm kind of with Kat, where this team's in win mode now, and who gives you the best chance to win? And right now, it's Bear, Larson, and Tyson Barrie. Going forward now, tough to see. Hopefully, we get back to normal times where, let's say that they have their 3 starters on the right side, and Bouchard can spend a few months in the minors working on his game. It's not going to hurt him. And then you call him up to get him into some games and all that. You can move him back and forth. So I don't think it's the end of the world if Evan Bouchard's not a starter come next season. There's something there. Like, we've all watched him play this year, and he's a hell of a player, and he's only going to get better. But I mean, if the Oilers are looking at the next 2 years and want to contend for a cup, I'd probably roll with the 3 guys they have right now starting on the right side.
Enjoy it with Barrie while you have it right now, and then see what happens long term moving forward here for the Oilers. All right, keep it or clip it. Once again, you're watching and listening to 2 Guys and a Goalie, brought to you by our friends at CoolBet Canada. Sign up today. You follow them on Twitter at CoolBet Canada or CoolBet Chris. Chris Abbott, who usually joins us, will be back next Thursday. Oilers and Jets tonight. We get a look at the Jets, a very good hockey team. Let's go with this one. Nick Ehlers is the most underrated forward in the North Division. Keep or clip it.
I'm gonna clip it because I don't think he's underrated at all. You turn on those highlights, he's the first one you see darting through the zone with the puck. He's a lot of fun to watch. He's a great player. I don't think anyone's underrating him anymore.
Yeah, I'll clip it as well. I just think because they're so stacked there in Winnipeg with their top end guys that maybe sometimes he's a forgotten guy. But if you watch any Jets game, this guy's active. He's been really good against the Oilers. He leads them in points head to head. So for me, I don't think he's underrated at all.
Clip it for different reasons. I'm going to clip it because Kyle Connor is still the most underrated Winnipeg Jet.
People talk about Connor a heck of a lot more than Ehlers, though.
Yeah, but I still think he's underrated. Now,
Yeah,
I mean, he was heading in. Like, people have started to notice now, but like, man, you still, if you look at how much we talk about McDavid and Draisaitl and Matthews and Marner and Nylander and all these guys, it's like, you know, sometimes it feels like he still is a little bit of that lost man, and he is really good. Ehlers is really good too. Like, their forwards are just stacked.
It is ridiculous. I'm looking forward to this game tonight. It should be a good one. We'll get a prediction from the wise Joaquin Gage before we wrap up this episode. Kyle Dubas has talked about, you know, maybe moving a top pick, maybe moving some top prospects to try to take a run out of this year. So it's a good question. The Maple Leafs should trade for Taylor Hall. Keep it or clip it.
Oh,
you know
God.
what? I say keep it. He's a good player. He is a really good player, but that might make them a little bit more dangerous on. Yeah, keep it. I want to see it. I want to see it and see what it looks like. Keep it.
I'll clip it because in some weird way they'll end up with the first overall pick. So no, but I mean, it'd be fun for him to go there, but I'll clip it. I just don't think he's. I don't know. I just don't like the fit.
Here's why I want to keep it though. I want him Leafs, Oilers, playoffs. He gets the puck, and Larson comes out of nowhere and Stevens him. Right? Then we stop talking about the trade.
Then we stop talking about the trade.
Larson forces a turnover at Taylor Hall and buries it. Goes end to end and buries it.
He does have more goals this season. So
yeah, to end their season. How fantastic would that be? That would be unbelievably funny. I would love that. I'm going to clip it. But because I don't think he's a good fit, like what? Yeah. Like, is he what the Maple Leafs need if you're going to make a trade? Like, I don't think he's the guy you need. Like, do they need a goal scoring winger, or do they have that already?
Oh.
Kyle Dubas just cut off Cassian right before Cass got to the parts where what they need. Oh no,
Cass! They must be close to a deal.
Yeah, we just joked that Dubas cut you off right before you said what the Leafs need.
He's sending texts to TSN. He's like, get these guys off the air. Cut their internet. Yeah. As I was saying, I think they'd be better served if they're looking and they need maybe a depth like third line centerman. That could be helpful. And then still, you could reinforce that decor a little bit too. So I think those two needs would be more pressing than a scoring winger.
Question number 3. This was ugly last night. The Flyers bounce back tonight against the Islanders after being pumped by the Rangers 9-0.
I'll keep it. That was an incredible second period by Mika. It's
That's your boy, Cass.
DJ Z-Bad.
Yeah, I'll keep it. I think they bounce back today. It won't be 9-0. They'll win.
Yeah, I'm with Hernan. They'll bounce back. That Zibanejad, Cass, he is very fast. It's like he has that gliding, picking up speed thing. Like it looked like his feet weren't moving, and he was gaining speed through the neutral zone. He was impressive last night.
If I look at who all the Ottawa Senators have traded or given away the last 5 to 7 years. It's astounding. It is astounding some of the quality of players that they have given away. Like if you think Zibanejad and Stone, just to name 2, like, and you put that I know maybe they don't finish in the same spot in the standings, so you don't know who they're going to get from a draft pick. But if you tack on Zibanejad and Stone, and then you have Kachuk and Stützle coming in, like all of a sudden, your front 6 are deadly. And maybe you maintain Carlson on the back end, like so you have like it just baffles me.
Derek Brassard went the other way, Cass.
Yeah, he's a huge impact player at the time, right?
Yeah,
and that's not actually, I shouldn't say like Brassard, is a good player and it had a lot of really good years, but man, like it just baffles me. Now I can't remember what the original question was. Oh, the Flyers. I can't remember what it is. If it's keep it or clip it, but clip it. They're gonna get smoked by the Islanders, and it's gonna be awesome. I want to see them lose 6-0 again or 7-0. That'd be fantastic. Like just see Carter Hart start and get lit up for 5 in the first period. That would be beautiful. I would love it.
I think they lose. I don't think they bounce back. I think the Islanders take care of business tonight. So we'll see. All right, final question. The backyard rink is now a thing of the past, boys. I mailed it in. We skated on Wednesday, and it was weird. It's one of those feelings. I just knew that was the last one. Maybe it's because Marshall kept falling down in the corner because it was complete slush, or maybe it was because I finally was just like, it's time to go. So my next backyard project plan, I'll need your advice on. A hot tub is a great investment. Keep it or clip it. Remember my situation. I got 2 young kids. I mean, where do we come out on this?
I'm going to clip it, Dusty. It's not a good idea. I've got teenagers now. There's some with more interest now in the opposite sex. Friends that way. I don't need to be Mitch Buchanan sitting out there in my red shorts monitoring what's going on out in that hot tub. Might look good now for you, but you don't need Baywatch out there. All right.
What do you got?
I mean, would you invite us over for?
Buddy, the moment I could, we'd be doing episodes out of the tub.
I'll keep it, man. Hot tubs are awesome. But yeah, you got little ones, so you have to be super, super careful. But if you ever want to have an adult party, I'll wait for my invite, Dusty.
I just love hot tubs. I've just wanted one for a long time. I know it's probably not the right move, but Cass, what do you think?
I'm going to keep it. It's not the right move. Definitely not the right move financially, but from a you know what, this is one of the desires of your heart. You get some good use out of it, and you'd love it, and you'd enjoy having it. If you would enjoy having it, Dusty, go with my blessing.
And if anybody watching or listening to two guys right now sells hot tubs for really good deals, message us and let us know. We'll each have one. We'll put logos on it and it'll be great. That'll be awesome. All right, that's going to do it for episode 126, Schmitty Drool. That's what we'll go with right now. That could also work on a shirt, to be honest with you. That just Schmitty and then a little bit of drool coming off the Y. Just for you, Gager. That'd be great. All right, boys. Prediction. Let's whip around here, the Winnipeg game. Let's start with Cass, and we'll go back around to Gager here.
I think it's going to be a high-scoring affair. I'm going to say
the over?
5-4 Edmonton, regulation.
Ooh, that'll be a good one. That'll be a great show tomorrow for Hernan and I on the radio. Hernan, what do you got?
I'm going 5-3 Edmonton Oilers. Yamamoto scores.
Empty net or no?
No empty net.
Well, boys,
Oilers never score on the empty net.
all you guys are wrong. This is going to go to overtime. We are going to see some 3-on-3 back and forth, and we are going to see Tyson Barrie jumping into the play and scoring the OT winner, 4-3 Edmonton Oilers.
Buddy, if Barrie jumps into the rush and scores an OT winner tonight and you called it, I will bet on everything you say the rest of the season. And I'm going to bet on that tonight too, just so you know. That's good. All right, boys. Well, have a good weekend. We'll have lots to discuss when we're back on Monday. If you've been watching on the live stream, thank you very much. Subscribe to the podcast, Two Guys and a Goalie, wherever you get your podcasts, download, and we would appreciate the support. That's great. Gager, Cass, Hernan, good episode, boys, and we will catch up next week.
See you, boys.
Bye, boys.
Bye.